Hello and welcome to the channel. We'll talk about all things Vase Arts and chill with friends. My name is Liam and today I want to introduce you to Amatheia, Queen of the Sea. Now if you are new to the channel here, please consider hitting that subscribe button. If you enjoy what we do here, please let me know by hitting that like button. As well as that, check out other social medias on Twitch, on Twitter and on Discord. Links are down in the description below. But let's jump straight in. So as you may know, we are one of the official partners of HOST WCG, which if you haven't checked that out, make sure you check my announcement video. I'll put a card link up there for you to check out. Now, I've already introduced you to the Elder Dragon of Jinra, Meridius, but this time it is now time to show you the Master and Host of the Sea, Amatheia. But first, make sure you check out the HOST WCG website and Discord server, those links in the description below. But let's jump into the character deck of Amatheia, Queen of the Sea. And here it is in all its wonder, the Amatheia, Queen of the Sea character deck. So here we are, character deck. Amatheia contains a pre-built 51 card deck sculpted around Amatheia, Queen of the Sea, and has everything you need to begin your journey into Host. Manipulate your draws, gain powerful top check effects, create cheap and efficient entities that generate even more advantage. That's the aim of the deck. And let's just jump straight in, shall we? Now, the idea of this deck is that it's very combo based. It's all about building big combos, basically stacking the top of your deck and stacking conditions for effect. And then when you're ready to go, just absolutely pop off. And that's the idea of the Amatheia deck. But let's open this straight up. And here is Amatheia, Queen of the Sea, as your host for the deck. And here we are. So here's your host. She is your standard zone health with a max hand size of 6. And at the start of your turn, you may look at the top 2 cards of your deck and put them back in any order. That is a once per turn, every turn. So again, it's all about making sure you know what's on top of your deck, maybe knowing what you're going to be drawing, and also knowing what you might have on top for certain effects to go off. So very, very good host for that mechanic. First of all, we start off with Deep Sea Mermaid, where we've got 4 copies of, which is just a simple 1/1. And all about, again, on attack, reveal top. If it's an entity, you can deal damage to a target entity. So basically what you can do is go, okay, I want to use Amatheia to go, I want to put a 4 cost on the top of my deck. Fantastic. I will then have Deep Sea Mermaid to attack. On attack, reveal top. It's a 4 cost, deal 4 damage to a target entity. So this card is extremely useful and a 4 of is needed. Flood the Field is a sorcery in the deck, and that is a 4 of. Create 3 entity tokens in the front row slots with 0 power, 1 health, and it gains the effect of this entity cannot attack. So the way that this works is it makes you basically flood the field. It literally spawns a load of entities protecting your host, because your host cannot be attacked if you have entities on the field. So this is a very good defense mechanism. It's a very, very good stall card. And again, 4 of in this deck. We have an Ambush, Inherited Wealth. You can activate it when a mermaid entity you control is destroyed to gain 3 resource. And that's not just a generic resource, that is the resource that is main for the deck. So yeah, it is straight up just when a mermaid entity is destroyed, gain 3 resource, which for 1 cost, basically you're plussing 2, you're minusing 1 hand if you're having the actual ambush out in play. Really, really good way of generating resource early on. If you need to, without spending your action points. That is a 2 of in the deck. Life or Death is a 4 of, a sorcery, where you can destroy a target entity with cost 2 or less, and then return an entity from your drop zone to your hand. Very good way of recycling cards. 4 copies of that. Lost Treasure, another 4 of. This is a form at the start of your turn, gain a resource. So every turn you just gain a resource. It's 2 to play it, and then you just constantly plus. So again, the earlier you see this, the better it is for your resource game. We run 4 copies of Mermaid of Desire, which you can spend an action point to gain 2 resource, where normally it's spend an action point to gain 1 resource. So this card, as long as you got it out, with a 4 health as well, and it can attack with 1 damage as well, which is pretty good. You know, you can just gain 2 resource for 1 action point instead of 1. Really nice card there. We've then got Mycilus, Lord of Nullim, another entity mermaid. And this, when this card is created from your hand, you may draw 2 cards and then put a card from your hand on top of your deck. So again, you're plussing to your hand and you're also stacking the top of your deck. And you do run this as a 3 of in the character deck. Nebulous, the Gathering Mist, is a Spectre entity. At the end of your turn, return it to your hand. But you can see this. Yes, that's kind of like it's kind of like a spirit, if you know Yu-Gi-Oh! But the big side up to this is it's a free 4. So 3 health, 4 damage for 1 cost. So you can just play this, spam it out hard, and just attack for big damage for very little resource. Before it comes back to your hand for later resource, for like potential discard fodder, or again to play it again next turn means it can't die. So yeah, we run 4 copies in this deck. We've then got Nexalis, guiding the Waterborn, an elemental entity, and when this entity is created, reveal the top card of your deck and draw cards equal to the cost of the revealed card. Again, you stack the top of your deck, you go, oh, this is a high cost card, I'm going to draw that many cards. Like this deck's draw power is actually nuts because of this card. And it's a free cost as well, so it's not overly expensive given how much resource you're going to be generating in the game. So that is a 4 of. We've then got Ocean Onlooker, a human entity, another 4 of for free cost. When this entity is created from hand, you may reveal the top card and create an entity token on your front row slots with power and health equal to the cost of the revealed card. So again, you can stack a free 4 cost on top of your deck, go, fantastic, I'm going to spawn a 4/4 token because. Really, really good if you're able to stack your deck plenty. We also run Ocean's Garden Tender, a 4 of entity. This card is when it's created from stage hand, look at the top 2 cards of your deck and put 1 of them into your hand. So again, you get to add a card to your hand, so it replaces itself when you play it. And it's only a 1 cost as well. Yes, it's only a 2/1, but you are replacing the card in your hand and you're also stacking the top of your deck as well, which is really, really cool. So Ocean's Garden Tender, that is a 4 of. On the Terror, a demigod for the deck. When an entity is created from your hand, destroy all other entities. Yes, it's basically Cthulhu. Yeah, it's just a big 5, destroy absolutely everything else, and he becomes the only thing on the field. Kind of cool. Again, a really good card to just pop off and go, as well as to regain some control if your opponent gets a really strong board presence. That is a 2 of. We then run a 0 cost ambush. Activate when your opponents draw a card. When your opponent draws a card, your opponent discards a card. Great way of controlling your opponent's hand, limiting their options. Really nice card, and that is a 2 of. We got the Sirens of Adelphi. When this entity is created, your opponent discards 2 hand. Again, controlling your opponent's hand. It's a 5 cost, which is one of your higher cost cards in the deck. So it goes really well with obviously all your cost stuff. If you want to draw a 5 or you want to spawn a 5/5 token. So you have got some nice large cost choices in the deck, and that's a 3 of. And finally, a 0 cost sorcery, Stillness of the Lake, and you may on play perform one of the following actions: either destroy a target form or discard a card, and if you do, destroy a target face down, basically stopping your opponent from using their ambushes. So again, a very, very good control card, again for 0 cost, unless you want to destroy an ambush where you have to discard a card. But with how much hand you're generating in this deck, discarding a card is not a problem. But that is the deck in its entirety. But ultimately, this deck is really, really solid if you like a good combo deck, where your early game, you're so focused on building resource, building hand, stacking the top of your deck to basically get to the point where you want to, and then on your final turn or final 2 turns, you can just spend all of your resource, play everything from hand, because again, it's not that you're limited to 1 summon a turn or anything like that. You are only limited by the resource and action points that you have. Now, to create an entity, that does not cost you action points. The only thing that costs you creating action points is drawing cards and gaining resources, which if during your game you're gaining free resource from this, you're gaining extra resource once per turn for your lost treasure. Bear in mind as well, when you're playing Host, you're allowed up to 4 copies of a card, but with forms, you're only allowed 1 of the same type of form out at one time. So in my opinion, having 4 copies of Lost Treasure is a little overkill. I think 3 would be fine, just to make sure you see it. I think 3 would be absolutely fine. And then again, if it does end up getting destroyed, you can always play another one if you need to. I think 4, you would probably brick too much, so I would change this deck just a little bit, which does mean, yes, I'll get a second one. So yeah, ultimately, at the end of the day, you've got so much hand generation, you've got so much resource generation, you've also got a fair bit of opponent board control as well, and opponent hand control. So it's all about controlling your opponent, gaining your resource, and then absolutely popping off to try and beat your opponent in the course of 1 or 2 turns. And I really enjoy this deck. I think it's really good fun, and yeah, I think the great thing that you'll find with these decks is that they are all very equally balanced, and they all have a chance against each other, which is something that is not very common in card games. So yeah, I recommend, again, if you're interested in Host, this is a very, very good deck. All 3 of them are, to be fair, and we will be covering the 3rd deck in the next video very soon, so make sure you subscribe to the channel, and again, check out all of the Host links down below. But that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and again, I hope you are looking forward to Host WCG. Now that you've seen some more Host, what Host do you think you'll be getting? Don't forget, Host comes out on the 1st of September 2023, and you can go to host-wcg.co.uk to buy any product. But again, thank you so much for watching. Again, welcome to Host, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye!